Hey everybody, this is Dave Blair, and I want to talk about Microsoft. So today is 11/9 of 2020, and tomorrow is the day that Microsoft comes out with their new Xbox Series X and Series S. And they kind of blew it because they were supposed to have Halo Infinite as a game to launch with the system, and they don't have it. And I feel like they really dropped a ball there. So everyone knows that they dropped the ball on the launch and not having the Halo Infinite game. Um, and I kind of put that on 343. But this is a bigger picture of Microsoft and what they've done and what's happened time and time again with them. Um, so if you go back, I mean, Halo 1, 2, and 3 were good. Halo ODST was good, and Halo Reach were good. They were all done by Bungie, and then it was turned over to 343, and 343 came out with the Master Chief Collection, which was just them redoing those games and making them graphically better. So, that was all fine and good, but then when the reins were turned over to 343, that's where the Halo franchise went off the tracks because they were all of a sudden in charge of making the story, and the story did not gel. Like they made in Halo 4, Master Chief was the bad guy, and then he turned out to be the good guy, but they had to send another team after him. It was just, the story you could tell was in different hands. And then Halo 5, again, they brought back the Forerunners and all this other nonsense, and the story was not going in the same direction as the original story, and you could just tell. So I feel like 343 really dropped the ball. Now, graphically, they're really good games, but story-wise, they dropped the ball. But this is an ongoing problem with Microsoft and the Microsoft studios, and it has me really worried about the future. So another example of where they dropped the ball was Gears of War, which is another great series. Now, Gears of War, I played all of them, and that game was handed over from Epic to the Coalition. And while graphically and gameplay wise they're very similar, again, the story has gone off the rails. Matter of fact, Gears 4 and Gears 5, both, you can tell that they did not have an outline of the original story or something. Like they didn't know where it was going, or they had the freedom to take it in any direction they wanted, but you can just tell that it's the continuity's not there. So it was the same thing that happened to Halo happened to Gears of War. Again, graphically they're great. Gameplay wise, they're pretty good. I mean, they're very similar. So they really didn't screw that up. But the story, I feel like, is screwed up. So, and again, this is just an ongoing problem I see with Microsoft over and over again. And it has me worried because they just bought Bethesda Studio. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about was what happened to Fable. Okay, when Microsoft took over there, they had them make a Kinect game for Fable, and it was awful. Then they had them make some other Fable game with multiple characters or something, and that ended up getting totally canceled. Then you had the whole fiasco that happened with Scalebound. So, they were talking about that game. They had trailers for that game, and again, it wasn't going in the direction that they wanted, and it got canceled. So the new Fable game is turned over to Playground Games, and I hope that they have success, but they should because they're starting from scratch, I think. They're kind of rebooting the series. So they're a really good developer as far as I really love their Forza Horizon games, so I think they might do well. Now, another area that they dropped the ball was Turn 10. And I think that Turn 10 had a new Forza game for the Xbox Series X launch. And I think Microsoft changed the direction that they wanted it to go. They want an esports competitor or games as a service racing game. And again, I think that they dropped the ball. I think the game would have been ready. I don't know that for sure. I don't have any insider information, but Forza should have been there at the launch. But I think that they changed the direction that they wanted it to go, and that's why we don't have it. So I don't know. With all of this going on, it's got me a little nervous about the direction that Microsoft is taking games and game franchises that I care about. And now they've bought ZeniMax Studio, and they have control over Bethesda, which I really love Skyrim. I played through that twice with 2 characters and over 400 hours on each one. I mean, I had a great time with Skyrim, and now I'm worried about the next Elder Scrolls game. So again, really, like whatever Microsoft gets their hands on, they tend to ruin sometimes. I don't know. I'm just really nervous about what they could do. The other thing is, I feel like Microsoft has this woke agenda too. Um, I'm not saying that it's a big deal, but they put a woman on the cover of Forza Motorsport 7, and they really pushed, well, you could have a female driver or male driver. I have no problem with that, but putting it in your face when 99% of race car drivers are men, and I'm not trying to be sexist, I'm just saying those are the stats. And then Forza Horizon, they've put where you can be male or female, but all the clothing options are all female, not specific, but like female gender oriented is what I'm trying to say. So you don't have a choice. Like when you spin the prize wheel, you sometimes will end up with a dress or a skirt or something like that, which is fine if you're playing as a female character, but if you're playing as a male, it's just not something that I would wear. And so I feel like they're trying to force this stuff or this woke agenda on. I think that you should have a choice between male or female character, but then you should have the ability to buy the clothing that you want. You shouldn't be forced to win clothing that you may or may not want. So I don't know. But if you're a female character, they look fine in all the clothes. So I don't know. It's just these little things that they're doing that kind of jump out to me. And I'm worried about where they're going to take some of these franchises. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents. If you guys have any thoughts about Microsoft or where they're headed or the new consoles, maybe leave a comment. And again, I'm not trying to be sexist. I'm just trying to point out what I see them trying to shoehorn certain things in certain games that I don't necessarily like the way that they're doing it. I think you should have the option to be a male or female driver, but you should also have the option to buy the stuff you want instead of it just being given to you. But I just see potential for Microsoft to inject their agenda in games, and I just don't think that that's where it belongs. All right, thanks for watching.